Bonjour, it's me, Madame Johnson, and I'm going to go over the key vocabulary in section 3.1, which is all about places around the classroom, school supplies, things that have to do with school. There is a lot of vocabulary in this section, so it may help you to make flashcards and color code them by gender if you can. Pick a color for masculine words and pick a color for feminine words, and that helps to connect that color with the meaning with the gender in your brain. You can also do the Quizlet, which is in this section linked. And you could also, if you feel motivated, make your own Quizlet, because the more you practice the vocabulary and create things with it, the more you own it. So different ways that you can practice. But here we go. We will start with common phrases, or les mots clés, key words. And the first question that we're looking at is qu'est-ce qu'il y a dans la salle de classe? And it's a long question that means what is there in the classroom? And you can say that about what is there in anything. You can say what is there in your backpack, or what is there in your refrigerator, or however you want to put it. That's a good question that you can use. Qu'est-ce que means what is or what are. Il y a means there is or there are. Dans, with no S sound, there's an S there, but it's silent, so it's just dans, means in. And la salle de classe is the room of class, or the classroom. So let's say this real slowly. Qu'est-ce qu'il y a? Qu'est-ce qu'il y a? This beginning part sometimes stumps people. It kind of sounds like the K sound, then the S sound, and then the K sound. Qu'est-ce que? Qu'est-ce qu'il y a? Qu'est-ce qu'il y a? Dans la salle de classe. La salle de classe. Now one more time all together. Qu'est-ce qu'il y a dans la salle de classe? Qu'est-ce qu'il y a dans la salle de classe? And a way to respond to that is il y a, and that means there is or there are. And again, you can talk about il y a when you're talking about things that are in your classroom, but you can also talk about what's in your backpack, what's in your fridge, what's in your bedroom. Il y a just means there is or there are. Next, we have questions that involve needing something. So if you said tu as besoin de, and you put after it something that they might need, then that is asking if somebody needs something. So tu as besoin de means you have need of. Tu as besoin de, and it's a question asking if somebody needs something. And then the response is j'ai besoin de, and that means I have need of something. So you might remember back when you were talking about your age in another unit that you would say j'ai 12 ans, or j'ai 13 ans, or j'ai 14 ans, or however you want to say it. And that would be your age, like I have 13 years, or I have 14 years. In this case, we're using j'ai again, but we're saying I have need of something. So it's the same phrase, it's just used in a different way. So I could say, if I was asking, I would say, tu as besoin d'un crayon, which is, do you have need of a pencil, or do you need a pencil? And I could say, oui, j'ai besoin d'un crayon. And I would use this D apostrophe here if it was before a vowel. This DE would be before a consonant. Moving on, we have the verb coûter, if we're talking about how much something costs. And this is going to go along quite well when we talk about big numbers in this section. And you'll notice that coûter ends in ER, so it's an ER verb. It also has this little circumflex over the U. That circumflex stays whenever you conjugate it, but in this case, we're just talking about conjugating it for il and elle. so it. So if you say il coûte combien, that's asking it costs how much, or how much does it cost? And it's the same question if you're using elle coûte combien, but you'd use again the il for masculine words and the elle for feminine words. And then if you wanted to respond to that question, you can say il coûte, and you'd tell how much it costs. For example, il coûte 5 euros. It costs 5 euros. Or il coûte $20. It costs $20. And you would use the same thing with elle, only with feminine words. Oops, double slide. Then we have school supply or furniture in the school or in the classroom. So we have dans la salle de classe, which is what will be in the classroom. And here we have une salle de classe. It's a classroom. And remember, this is what we were talking about with qu'est-ce qu'il y a dans la salle de classe? And here is your actual salle de classe. Répétez, une salle de classe. Une salle de classe. Then we have un tableau, and in this case a tableau is a whiteboard, but it's also the word for painting in French. So again, they're both things that go on the wall, but they have the word has multiple meanings. So un tableau, and that means a whiteboard. Then we have une table, and une table is exactly what it looks like. It is a table or a desk. And then we have une chaise here, and une chaise is a chair. So répétez une table, and une chaise, une chaise. And these are actually the same words that you would use for any table and chairs, even if it was in your house, in your dining room, or whatever. Une table and une chaise. Then we have a door and a window, une porte and une fenêtre. Sometimes people pronounce this une porte, and that's not really correct. That E is silent. Same with this, une fenêtre. So we say une porte, and une fenêtre, une fenêtre. And in this word, the fenêtre, this first E here almost sounds like it doesn't exist at all. So it almost sounds like it's just the F sound followed by the N sound. Fenêtre. Then we have un poster for a poster. That's a cognate, which is a word that means the same in French and in English and has a similar appearance to the word. And then we have une pendule, and that is a wall clock. We also have a map, une carte, and similar to the word porte, this word carte people sometimes pronounce carte, and again, that's not correct. That's a silent E at the end. So we say une carte, une carte. That's also the word for map, or for menu in French, as well as map. We have un casier, which is a locker, un casier, and that's it for the places around the classroom. And now we have school supplies, les fournitures scolaires. And although it doesn't mean the same thing in French and in English, I always think of this as like things that you would, like furniture that you would use when you're learning, although we're talking more like pencils and pens and stuff. But it just kind of looks like that word, les fournitures scolaires. So that is school supplies. And we'll start off with the humble crayon, un crayon, which is a pencil. And then we have un taille crayon. And this word kind of looks like taille, but it's taille. Sounds like a necktie. Un taille crayon. And this word taille also is the word for size in French. Like if you're in a store and you're asking what size you need, or you're asking for a certain size, you would say quelle taille. So in this case, with un taille crayon, the taille crayon is bringing the pencil down to a certain size, which has that nice little pointy tip. So un crayon and un taille crayon. There are also actual crayons in France. This is not the word for crayon, it's the word for pencil. But the word for crayon is un crayon de cire, which is a wax crayon. And if you want to say colored pencil, that is un crayon de couleur. So they exist, but the word crayon is just referring to a pencil. Then we have un stylo, which is a pen. And there are two words for marker that you can use, un marqueur, and un feutre, So here are three different terms. We have une trousse, which is a pencil case, une gomme, which is an eraser, and une règle, which is a ruler. And again, we don't say trousser or gamme or règle, so those E's are all silent on the end. We have two words here that people oftentimes think are feminine because they end with an E, but they are actually masculine words. We have un livre, which is a book, and un dictionnaire. So both of those words are masculine words. So this next term, une feuille de papier, that word feuille is always kind of a doozy for people, but it's almost kind of like the word feu and then a Y sound. Feuille. Une feuille de papier. And that's a piece of paper. And then when you have a bunch of feuilles de papier all together, you have un cahier, which is a notebook. Un cahier can also be a workbook in some circumstances. If you need a binder, you will need un classeur. And this is not the correct picture here. An agenda, when you look at this in person, you'll notice that's changed. An agenda is a planner. So an agenda, that doesn't have any dates on it. So that's the wrong picture. That's actually another cahier, but that's another story. Oh, there's the agenda. Okay. Un calendrier is a calendar. Un calendrier. And then here we have our agenda. I thought I put it in there. An agenda is a nice day planner. Un sac à dos is a backpack. And if you want to just talk about a regular bag, like a purse, that is un sac. À dos means on the back. So this is a bag on your back, a backpack. A laptop is un portable. And that is also a masculine word, even though it ends in an E. And then the word for cell phone is also portable. So it kind of depends on the context. If you're saying that you are creating a presentation on your portable, you'd probably be talking about your laptop. But if you're saying you're sending a text on your portable, you're probably talking about your phone. Here are some familiar people that you would find around school, les personnes familières. There is un professeur and une professeure, and they are the exact same word, only if it's a guy, it's un, and if it's a girl, it's une. They can also be abbreviated as un prof or une prof, and that's done quite a bit. Then we have un élève and une élève, and I tell you what, you guys, everybody pronounces this word elves. These are not elves, they're children, they're students. So we say une élève, and for a guy, un élève. Élève is 2 syllables. Elves is 1 syllable. Élève. Repeat after me. Élève. And then we're going to talk just a bit about prepositions. And prepositions are words that talk about position in time or in place. So we're going to talk about position in space right now, or in a place. And I've used some cat pictures for this. There is also a video that I've linked all about prepositions in English. So if you need a refresher about what the word preposition means, it's a great video. And it has a piece of cheese that poops in it. So here we go. This cat is sur la table. Sur la table. It is on the table. And if you know that there's actually a store called Sur la Table, and it's a cooking store, and that means on the table, like it's food on the table. Sur. Sur means on. And then the same kitty is under the table now. Sous la table. Sous. Sous means under. The kitty, if you look here, is kind of in front of the table. So devant means in front of. Devant. And then he's hiding behind the table here. And derrière means behind. Derrière. These were a little challenging to illustrate in our slideshow, but we have this cat here and it is in the box. Kind of like dans la salle de classe, in the classroom. Le chat est dans la boîte. The kitty is in the box. So dans means in. And avec means with. So we have two kitties here, one in a box, and then another angry looking kitty is with it. So avec means with. Avec. And that is the end of our slideshow. Feel free to watch this as many times as you'd like. Use a Quizlet, make flashcards, do what you need to do to learn these words. Merci et bonne journée!